caught red-handed. In front of a stunned House of Commons and a watching nation, Keir Starmer just suffered one of the most shameful public humiliations of his premiership. This wasn't the opposition shouting. This wasn't a protest outside. Number 10. This was the Speaker of the House himself, calm, collected, and furious, delivering a historic rebuke that shredded the Ministerial Code and shattered what little was left of Labour's credibility. The moment Sir Lindsay Hoyle opened his mouth, Westminster froze. And what followed wasn't just a criticism. It was a bombshell declaration that the Prime Minister had betrayed Parliament, disrespected democracy, and shown complete disregard for the rules he once vowed to uphold. The tables have turned, and Starmer's mask has slipped in full public view. What was meant to be a polished government announcement turned into a national disaster, a live political demolition that exposed the ugly truth beneath the spin. Just hours ago, Keir Starmer stood on a podium in Glasgow, smiling for the cameras, flanked by hand-picked journalists as he delivered what his team called a landmark strategic defense review. A tightly stage-managed speech, scripted to perfection, with not a single MP in sight. No questions from Parliament. No scrutiny. No debate. Just lights, media, and pure political theater. And while the cameras rolled and spin doctors cheered, the House of Commons sat empty, blindsided, bypassed, and betrayed. The Prime Minister had unveiled one of the most significant shifts in UK national security policy in years, and he had done it outside Parliament, not inside the chamber, not before elected representatives, but behind a media curtain, far from accountability. And that's when everything unravelled. Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House, and a man respected across all parties for his neutrality, stood up and did something no one expected. He struck back. In an icy, deliberate tone, he announced that he was deeply disappointed in the Prime Minister's actions. Then came the real blow. Hoyle read from the Ministerial Code itself, chapter and verse, and confirmed what many feared. Keir Starmer had breached the rules, not bent them, not misjudged, violated them. Paragraph 9.1, plain and simple. All major government policy announcements must be made to Parliament first. And today, that didn't happen. The Speaker's voice never rose, but his words hit like a sledgehammer. He declared that the government had once again shown complete disregard for Parliament, that Starmer and his ministers had staged a media circus while leaving MPs in the dark, that this kind of spin-over-truth governance was not only unacceptable, it was a dangerous precedent. For the Prime Minister to bypass scrutiny on something as vital as defense policy wasn't just poor judgment. It was a constitutional breach. And Hoyle made that clear, live on record, as the entire chamber sat in silence. What made it worse, what made it utterly shameful, was the history. Because Starmer wasn't just caught breaking the rules. He was caught doing exactly what he once condemned. When Labour sat in opposition, Starmer himself accused the Tories of media-first announcements. He called it a disgrace, a betrayal of democratic process. He shouted from the dispatch box that Parliament deserved respect. And now, with power in his hands, he's doing the same thing, if not worse. That hypocrisy wasn't lost on Hoyle, who reminded the House of those very moments, those very speeches, those very quotes. The same lies, just new faces. It wasn't just a bad day. It was a full-scale credibility collapse. A moment where Starmer was publicly exposed, not by enemies, not by backbenchers, but by the very institution he swore to serve. The Speaker didn't name-call. He didn't yell. He simply pointed to the truth. This Prime Minister had chosen cameras over Commons, PR over process, spin over scrutiny. And the result? A disgrace to democracy. Parliament, the very seat of British governance, was silenced while unelected advisors and image consultants took center stage. That's not leadership. That's manipulation. And this isn't isolated. This fits a growing pattern. A crisis of leadership where decisions are being wrapped in PR, gloss, and delivered to the press instead of to the people's representatives. From defense reviews to economic updates, immigration policies to foreign affairs, everything is becoming a stage-managed event rather than a serious democratic process. And the Speaker has had enough. Hoyle's rebuke may seem like a procedural moment to some, but make no mistake, it was a historic warning. A clear message that this government, this Prime Minister, is skirting dangerously close to executive overreach. That Parliament will not be ignored. That the democratic process cannot be replaced by press stunts and soundbites. And while the Labour front bench sat frozen, unable to respond, unable to justify what had happened, the rest of the country watched the Prime Minister shamefully caught red-handed in the act of dodging scrutiny. What will happen next? Will there be consequences? Will Starmer apologize? Or will he, like so many before him, retreat behind the walls of number 10 and pretend it didn't happen? One thing is certain. The mask has slipped. The image of the principled leader, the man who promised to clean up politics, has crumbled. And the Speaker's words, calm, cutting, unforgettable, now echo through the halls of power. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a betrayal of trust. And the whole nation saw it live.